Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I have a bunch of updates to share with you about Trump regrets, stories about Trump supporters entering the find out phase of their journey. So grab some popcorn, grab a frosty beverage, sit back and enjoy. First up is a woman who was all in for Trump. She may not even regret it at this point, but she definitely has entered the find out phase because Trump froze government spending, as you know, and it hit her personally. Check this out.
They literally cut my food stamp card off. Zero balance. They took everything.
Oh, Bethany. That's terrible. Wait. This you?
You look so dumb right there.
Yeah, so that was just one of her pro-Trump videos there at the end. And for those listening on the podcast, this woman was complaining about her public assistance being cut off. And we know that she's a MAGA woman because in the second video, after this other person says, "Hey, is this you?" She's in this video that's captioned with, basically something mocking Democrats for thinking that Kamala Harris would win. And then, as you could hear, she's singing to Rihanna's song saying that Democrats look so dumb right now. So, yeah, oddly, her other videos were all recorded in the bathroom as well. So, she's got to wonder about her living situation. But anyway, you know who else got a kick in the crotch from Trump's cessation of payments? Religious groups. So, as you can see here, Trump humper Mike Flynn posted on Twitter, and then Elon Musk retweeted it. So Flynn wrote, quote, "Now it's the Lutheran faith. This use of religion as a money laundering operation must end. Lutheran Family Services and affiliated organizations receive massive amounts of taxpayer dollars." And along with that post, he showed a list of payments that they've been receiving from the government. And in Musk's retweet, Musk wrote, quote, "The DOGE team is rapidly shutting down these illegal payments." Not illegal, first of all, and they have no idea what they're doing. So, yeah, and then the Catholic groups have also entered the find out phase because, as you see here, a group called Catholic Relief Services says that they might have to cut as much as 50% of their budget this year because of Trump's cuts. And they might have to lay off workers as well. So it's a good thing that all of these religious groups and people voted for Trump, isn't it? So Trump's cuts and his funding freeze are also affecting some federal employees who voted for him. As you see here, someone named Justin posted this online. This is in direct response to Trump, and he wrote, quote, "It really sucks that in 1 week of your presidency, I know you have to investigate federal spending, but my job is federally funded, and it cut my overtime and knocked it down to 37.5 hours a week. If this isn't resolved, I'll lose everything. Thanks, and I voted for you," shaking my head. Yeah, that really does suck, Justin. If only you had another alternative for president. Someone who wouldn't have frozen funding and cut vital programs. Anyway, another group that's likely regretting their almost unanimous support for Trump is farmers. So check this out.
Well, it'll certainly be an economic hit to Kansas farmers in a time when they're already struggling. Commodity prices are at an all-time low, and farmers are struggling. Their input costs are high, meaning their fertilizer, chemical, seed. Those input costs are at all-time highs, but the market price for the commodities that they're growing are at all-time lows. So this is just one more hit in a time where farmers don't need any more uncertainty added to an already difficult time.
So that video was an interview. It was regarding funding that Trump cut for something called the Food for Peace program. So evidently, we subsidize Kansas farmers who provide food to this program. And now that appears to be on the chopping block. Remind me again of how Kansas voted, how Kansas voted in the election. Yeah, pretty sure they went for Trump. And in regard to immigration and deportations, I've got some doozies for you here today. We tried to tell minorities, right? We tried to tell them they're voting against their own best interests, but they didn't want to hear it. So here you go. First up is this stable genius, as you see here. For those on the podcast, I'm showing a photo of a man. He's holding a Trump flag, Trump 2024 flag, and it says, "Let's go Brandon" at the bottom. This is 33-year-old Florida man, Hector Luis Valdez Cocho. I think that's how you say his last name. He came to the U.S. in 2022 from Cuba. He is gay, and he's a huge Trump supporter. So, I mean, what could go wrong, right? Cuban, brown man, gay man. I mean, this is like cows campaigning for Big Mac. So anyway, Hector has now been detained by ICE. It seems that he really does want to follow in Trump's footsteps, because after rallying for Trump, trying to help him win the 2024 election, Hector has now been arrested. News outlets say that the police took him into custody in November of 2024 after he was accused of fraud. So according to the news outlet Cyber Cuba, I'm not sure, it's spelled with a C. Anyway, people accused Hector of using his reputation as an activist to collect money from them under false pretenses. And the news outlet wrote, quote, "These accusations include claims of emotional manipulation and exploitation of his activism for personal gain." So he is now in the custody of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement due to the fraud allegations and also previous arrest warrants out for him for traffic violations. And because Cuba doesn't have a standing agreement with the U.S. as other countries do, like Colombia, they're not required to take their citizens back. So Hector could be one of those that ends up in Guantanamo. I just love a happy ending. So anyway, another migrant group that's realizing the error of their ways is Venezuelans. As I shared the other day, Trump revoked their temporary protective status, TPS. Biden had just extended it. He had given them another 18-month reprieve. So now Venezuelans in Florida are regretting their support for the apricot Antichrist. So the director of the Venezuelan American Caucus told NPR that their community feels, quote, beyond betrayed, and, quote, "They used us during the campaign, the elected officials from the Republican Party. They actually told us that he was not going to touch the documented people. They said, no, it is with undocumented people." Gosh, if only someone or millions of people had warned them that the Republican Party and Trump is, they're all racist and they're full of shit. Yeah, God, if only. Sadly, one Venezuelan family just had their 18-year-old son taken from them without warning. On January 26th, ICE showed up without a warrant, shows up at this home. They take this family's son, Carlos, into custody, even though he came into the country legally. He came through the CPB One app. That's the app that the Biden administration had set up for asylum seekers. So as far as his family can tell, Carlos hasn't violated any laws, but ICE agents claimed that he was seen in a video with guns and drugs. They never showed any evidence, though. They never produced any evidence when they took him into custody. And Carlos' stepmother, a woman named Marianne, she told NPR she was on board with Trump's deportation plan. She said, as you see here, quote, I've always said we might be from the same country, but we are 100% in agreement that if someone harms someone, that person should leave. But I never made that comment thinking that it could happen to me and my family. And Carlos' father told NPR that he never imagined ICE would come knocking on his door. Yeah. Again, if only someone had warned them. And you may have heard there have been protests in the US against Trump's deportation of migrants. Thousands of people have been out in the streets. They're literally shutting down major freeways in Los Angeles. And so one of the organizers told a news outlet, as you see here, quote, "I think people are finally opening their eyes. A lot of people I talk to now regret. People are finally realizing they have to do their research." So, of course, she's talking about regretting Trump and doing their own research on candidates. And then she also said that a lot of the Latino voters that she's spoken to didn't actually believe that he was going to follow through on his promises. This is the most bizarre thing to me. Why you would vote for someone if you didn't think that they were going to do what they said. Just insane. This next one, though, is just mind-blowing. So a news outlet interviewed a police officer at one of these protests. This was in Texas, again, against deportation. And this officer, his name is Alan. They didn't want to give his last name, but he wasn't there at this protest in his official capacity. Alan and his wife were there protesting alongside everyone else and carrying Mexican flags. And Alan told the news outlet that he voted for Trump based on the economy and because he falsely believed that Trump is pro-police. Yeah. And then Alan went on to say that he was protesting because he's worried about his undocumented father, who's a farm worker. I mean, better late than never. And Alan now regrets his vote for that specific reason because of, Trump, of course, pardoned the January 6 convicts and defendants. And so he's like, oh, I guess he's not pro-police. I seriously don't even know what to say about this level of ignorance. Next is more fallout from Trump essentially saying that he wants to ethnically cleanse the Gaza Strip of all Palestinians. So in an interview with ABC News, a Palestinian American named Abraham Massoud said, quote, "It was a slap in the face, really, to all Palestinians and to Muslims. We voted for him. I voted for the guy 3 times. So this was kind of like I said, a slap in the face, and it's hurtful. It's horrible to think that he's not listening to the other side. Voted for him 3 times, and he is just now realizing that Trump is biased and that he doesn't listen and doesn't care about Black and brown people. Wow. Nothing gets past you, huh, Abraham? And then in an interview on CNN, the president of the Arab American Institute was asked if his community now regrets their decision to back Donald Trump. And he said, quote, "Many stayed home and some of them voted for Donald Trump, but they are now feeling very clearly that they made a big mistake. And sort of like the kid who gets in trouble and his parents send him to his room and he goes out there and starts throwing stuff around in a peak of anger. All he's got is a mess, and that's what we've got here. People didn't vote for Kamala Harris. They voted for Donald Trump. They had their tantrum, and now look what we got. We got a crazy man in the White House who's doing and projecting things that are really, really problematic." And it's not just Muslims and Palestinians who are pissed off at Trump about this. MAGA's also mad, but for completely different reasons, of course. So a Texas woman is just having a, full-on meltdown on Twitter. She is responding to Trump. She's responding to Trump humpers who've expressed interest in Trump's Gaza move. So in one of her many posts, she wrote, quote, I don't need any more of Trump's antics. Worked too hard to get him here. Not a fucking damn dime of my money into Gaza. And don't fucking tell me to calm down. Then in response to an Elon Musk tweet, she wrote, quote, "Yep, and us fucking tax-paying serfs get to slave away and fucking rebuild Gaza so they can fucking blow it up again. Screw real Donald Trump." And then when another Trump voter posted, quote, "I don't want the Gaza Strip. Am I the only one?" This same woman replied, quote, "Hell no. And if Trump spends one goddamn American dime of taxpayer money there, I will work to politically decapitate him. I am so pissed. Who the hell does he think he is using our money like that?" He thinks he's the king because you guys let him skirt the law, because you guys allowed him back in the White House when it was proven that he is a criminal and he had all kinds of charges against him and you let him off. That's who he thinks he is. And then she tweeted directly at Trump and she told him, quote, "At real Donald Trump, have you lost your fucking mind? I voted for you 3 times. Did you just fuck us?" Yeah. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And all of us, really. And we tried to warn you, and you didn't listen. Anyway, I wanted to end today's Trump regrets with a man named Ken. He has been posting his Trump regret videos on TikTok. I reached out to him, and he has agreed to come on the show for an interview. So you guys will see that next week. He seems like a nice enough man. He's just uber religious. That's why he voted for Trump. So here's the first regret video that went somewhat viral and how it was brought to my attention, and why he's continued to post. So check this out.
All I can say, I was a dumbass, voted for Trump only because of my beliefs. People around me encouraged it. I can think for myself, yes. But I felt at the time that was the better choice. Now I'm looking at it with everything going on. It was the worst decision I ever made. I wanted not to vote. But people said you won't be able to have a say in anything if you don't vote. I totally regret this. I shouldn't have voted at all.
So again, I will be interviewing him next week. I will have that video for all of you to find out, what his thought process was voting for Trump, why he now regrets it, what all's going on with him. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe to the channel if you have not. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.